Hey everyone, it's Vanderbosch again. Today we're gonna try to go through all the weather stripping on the vehicle. Um, some of this stuff is still fairly good, but when I go through car washes or stuff kind of with more of a high-powered hose, even if I just spray this thing down with a standard hose, a lot of it leaks. And the big problem areas right now are the sliding door weather stripping. I can see that someone tried to add some foam tape to try to get this sealed up. It's never sealed. This is the worst part. It leaks pretty bad. And because of that leak, I'm actually seeing some rust right here and on the inside, like especially right in this corner. I don't know if I can get a good view. Right here. So that worries me. So I have the weather strips for all the side windows, for this main window right, or sliding door part, which will require me taking off something around here to get the weather strip off and on, and we'll see how that goes. I don't really know how that'll go down. And then I have all the door weather stripping as well, with all the product numbers. Now, when you go through MegaZip or a similar website to get some of these part numbers, it's not entirely obvious which ones you all need. I think it seemed like there was a few different weather stripping options for these quarter windows. So I'm gonna be trying with for this main side window, which I believe this is slightly different size than this. But this one, I'm gonna be trying the MB683060. Like I said, I tried to make sense out of all the different MegaZip part numbers, so I think this might work, but I'm not 100% sure. For this side quarter window and the back quarter window, I believe these are the exact same sizes. So I'll be using the MB416393 for this window. And then for this window, I have I believe the same thing. So these ones back here have the same weather strip. This longer one has a different weather strip. It looks like all of these, all I would have to do is there's 3 screws. So my brother's gonna be coming out here and he's gonna help me because I'm a little nervous taking these off from the inside and then having them fall outwards. I don't want to break these windows, obviously. So when he gets out here, he'll help me with that. The sliding door I'm a little nervous about too. I know I've had a 77 where we've messed with something with the hinges because I had door sag in it, and you can definitely put it together wrong where it won't shut correctly. So I don't know if that's the same issue with these. But, well, I'll kind of just run through what I run into. Like I said, all this shit's the first time I've ever done it. So, I guess keep that in mind when I'm attacking this stuff. If I'm doing something stupid or something that's not correct, definitely post a comment about it, and I can put it in the description for future people so that they don't run into it or do it the same way I did it if it's wrong. So let me know about that. I also have the door stripping part for these side, left and right, and like I said in all the other videos, I'll make sure to show you guys the part numbers in the description for everything I used. So we'll get started here, and I think I'll start on the front end with the front door weather stripping because that doesn't require any help, and it's just me out here for now. So we'll see what I run into. So the first thing, I just wanted to make sure that I have the right ones for the right side. In terms of the weather stripping. So I went on to MegaZip, kind of went through and checked the part numbers. I believe the 421504 is the right hand door weather stripping. And then if I walk onto the other side, the 421503 is a left hand weather stripping. So I'm gonna peel this off. There's these little plastic tabs, I don't know if I can show you, that are right there. Yeah, all the way around, and it's on the new stuff too. I don't know why these ones are white and the one for the right side is blue, but maybe that's a color coded difference. I'll see as I pull them off. But I'm gonna slowly peel these back, trying to remember where the pins are going, and then put the new one on. Kind of wish I could photograph or videotape me taking these off, but I'm gonna try at it, at least one side by myself, and if I run into anything weird, then I'll show you on the opposite side. So we'll go from there. All right, one thing, since I'm not 100% that these are the correct part numbers, I tried to go through using Megazip and Amayama to order the correct ones, but there's always problems, and I don't want to have this out of commission for, you know, a week or two before I get the right one. So one key thing here is there's these white tabs that go into the holes into the side of the door. So there's holes right there. There's a tab. I noticed if I just try to pull these back, I'm gonna rip these tabs out of the weather stripping. Now, just in case I gotta reinstall this exact weather stripping, because I don't have the right one, I wanna make sure that I try to pull these off as smooth as possible. This one I could do by my hand without ripping it. This one down here seems pretty tight. I'm gonna go through and try to use the pliers to actually grip that plastic piece, kind of like so, and then pulling it back. I do have that that door paneling tool, door panel removal tool that I mentioned in a previous video, but that one's at my house and not at the shop. I left that at home. Maybe when my brother comes out here to help, he'll bring that tool. For now, I'm gonna try to grip it using this and then pulling it out all the way around, kind of keeping track where those holes are. So I'm gonna get this removed and get the new one on easily. There's some grease on this one, so I'm wondering if I'm gonna have to grease these up to actually push them through. I hope I don't have to, but we'll see. So I'm back again. One thing I've noticed trying to do this, I don't want to rip the slots that these are in, but one thing that you can do is kind of slowly peel the rubber around the plastic nipples and then take off the plastic separately. So here's one that I've done. There's a hole in the weather stripping. Let me see if I can do a different one. So like, there's one right there. Oh, wow, that was an easy one, so that doesn't count. So this one right here, you can see that. I'm gonna go up a little bit just to get the, see how it's out, and then go down. Now it's off, the plastic's still in there, but at least I can work on the plastic piece with the rubber out of the way. I'm not tearing the rubber. So the pliers didn't seem to help as much as I thought. I think it's better to kind of slowly move this off the weather stripping without tearing it and then remove this separately. Then I'm just gonna put these back into the holes when I'm done. Just for future references, so it's easier to line this up. By the window, there's these two off-centered rectangular pieces. So kind of at this point, we got two nipples here, nipple there, nipple there, nipple here around this curve. Now this curve, then it goes to this nipple. Now this one looks different because it also has this gouge taken out of it. So I just want to keep track of that so when I put them on, I can line them up right. So the one with this gouge kind of goes into this spot. Then we have this one. Then by this window, it should line up with this kind of cutouts right there. In addition, you want the thicker side out. So if you look on this side, it's wider over on this side versus on this side you have the thinner section. So it kind of goes like that. I just want to, this might not help any viewers that are going through and doing this at home, but this is more going to help me so I can refer back to what nipple goes where when I fully remove this. Another reference point I want to point out for when I reinstall this is there's a cut through here in the weather stripping right at this corner. And then there's also a gouge right there, and that's where there's a pin. So the pin that's by this gouge and this cut through on the outer section goes right here. So that's just a future for when I install the new, for reference, when I install the new ones. So the top part of this weather strip just fits in a channel. Oh, I'm not even videotaping it. This part just fits in the channel all the way around here and down. There's none of those like pins to stick through. So you just kind of push it into the channel all the way down. I started to install the new one before I fully took off the other one, just so that I have some references. Since this top part was just a peel away, I could just peel away this section, add the new one. This is keeping it off the ground. That was the main thing I wanted to do. I didn't want this rubbering. Our ground isn't very clean, so I took off the old top part, hung the new one in, made sure that the thicker part was out, and then I just kind of aligned all of the pins into the holes before I pushed them through. I just wanted to make sure, like, hey, these are, because this is gonna match up. So there was that cutout that was down here. I put that one in first, made sure that there was enough holes for the rest of the pins, and then clipped those in. Like I said before, they don't seem like 100% match. I mean, if you just even look at the nipples, these have only like one clip style to them, while the old ones were kind of like the pine tree looking one. They had like multiple, let me get a good one, multiple sections for it to clip through. These ones are different. There is just one click. But so far so good. They seem to be lining up. I'm gonna keep following through, removing the old one and adding the new one, and hopefully all the holes line up. There's this one section right here I just noticed. I don't know if that's tape. Oh, it does look like it's tape. Okay, there must be tape on the old one too, somewhere in this area. But all right, yeah, we'll check through, and if that is required, I'll remove that sticker and use the sticker too. Like I said, I'm not no expert. Most of the time I'm filming this the first time I've ever done it, so one of the consequences of that, not having done it beforehand, was you run into issues that you can't foresee before you start filming. One of the problems is I got this weather stripping all around the new stuff. It looks all nice. We're going around. Oh wow, yeah, all the pins fit. This is all good. But then we run into this spot. Well, I can't get past this. So at first I was like, oh, it's because I didn't put it on from the outside. I put it on from the inside. If I was outside the door, I better be able to reach the get all the way around it, because I'd be able to go from behind here. But the issue with that though is that then you have the door handles that are back here that you'd have to get across. So I think I put it on correctly from starting on the inside of the door, but we're just gonna have to take off this section because I have all this weather stripping here and I didn't want to tear anything. I kind of went to the other side, looked at that, so I was able to get that off, and all I did was, these things are, focus, they're like a little torpedo. It was put in like this orientation, so I just hammered it from the bottom and it just slowly came out. So I'm gonna do this on the other side to get that weather stripping all the way across, because as of now this is blocking me from getting at the weather strip. So I already done this side, I'm gonna do it to that side, and then keep on going. So just a heads up, when you're putting the weather strip on, do it from the inside, so you don't have to go across the door hinges right here, but you're gonna have to disconnect this section right here just to get the door hinge or the weather stripping around it. So that's just a heads up for whoever's doing this next. So I barely even noticed this. I'm pretty sure this has disintegrated a long time ago, but the old weather strip did have a sticker section at one point. So I'm gonna try to peel. It's on the other side. No, I don't know if I can get over there now. Hold on, give me a second. Oh. I'm gonna peel the sticker off that weather strip. obviously I don't want to stick it down randomly, so I'm going to try to line up the hole first and then stick it down so that the weather strip is kept as tight as possible. So just a heads up, you do need to remove this adhesive covering and use this section. So I got the new weather stripping in all the way around. This section, it got kind of tight to do it, but as long as you follow the channel and the holes, I kind of went in, I started at this corner, kind of went down and started putting them in the holes all the way around here, all the way around here. At this point, I came back to the top. I got that all lined up, but then I continued to pop in those nipples from the bottom up. And that seemed to work well with that adhesive. It kept that adhesive pretty tight by going from the bottom and then up. And then to get that pin back into place, all I had to do was line the narrow one end up here and then hit it with my little mini hammer that I have. And that goes right back into place. I closed the door. It seems all right, I mean, I guess. So we'll see if that helps with any water leaking. So that was for the left-hand door. I'm gonna do the right-hand side. Should be the same thing. The only thing I'm slightly worried about is this had white nipples on it. Let me get over there and I can show you. These have blue nipples on them. And then I think the nipples I saw on these, hidden underneath there, I don't know if you can see that, are brown. So I'm a little kind of wondering, hopefully that lines up the same. If it doesn't, I'll let you guys know and then see if I can get a corrected part number. But I'm gonna attempt to take this one off, trying not to ruin it just in case I have to put it back on. And I'll come back if I run into anything new. So I'm kind of standing on the tire and the seat right now to try to get a good view here. But one thing I almost missed is if you see this metal is visible right here on the other side. And the only reason I noticed this is because I went to the other side. I'm like, wait a minute, that's not the same. When you wrap this around, this weather stripping around the door, this section needs to be pinched and pushed underneath this ridge. So I didn't do that. I'm gonna finish, so let me just show you if I can. See how I can just push it underneath there? So I'm gonna do that all the way down and then get back onto the other side. Like I said, never done this before, and the only reason I noticed this is because the other side has this done. So as I showed earlier, there's really three places for screws on these side windows. Unfortunately, when he started undoing them, these twisted. So I had to kind of hold them from the outside as he was twisting. And then we were able to get the window off. So here's the window that's completely off. Now we're just going to peel this back all the way around and put the old one in. So if I run into anything else that's different, I'll come back to that. Okay, so I went through and just cleaned the channel out. There is a lot of dust and mud in there. I just used some like degreaser cleaner, got all the stuff out of the channel. This is the part number that I'll be using. Hopefully this fits. I'm not 100% sure. From Megazip and Amayama, it seems like it's the right part number, but we'll, I guess, find out if this is the exact match or not. All right, one thing I want to point out is when we first got this weather strip in, we went through all the edges and we had about a 2 to 3 inch dimple right here left with everything else what we thought was put on. So we're like, oh man, this must be the wrong weather seal. We're gonna have to cut it. We're just about to cut it until we started kind of, so if the dimple was like right here, we slowly pushed it down more and more. We went around this corner, we kept pushing it in, and we noticed that the protrusion kept getting smaller and smaller. So what happened was we had enough of this knot pushed in deep enough that it created something that made it look like it would not fit at all. So we just kept kind of pushing it, I guess the big protrusion out around this circle until it eventually disappeared into nothing. So now it's all the way fit across, all good. But we were like seconds away from cutting the weather strip. So that means, you got the plastic for that? So this product number 683060 is the correct one. It almost seemed like it was too big, but it fit. So just a heads up for everyone. Just a heads up, you're gonna have to remove these mounts on the inner side to either remove or install the weather stripping. It's kind of hard. To get at the bolt, you just slide that back, and then you can access the screw that takes those out. Another issue we ran into is that these sometimes spin inside their holes. So you try to loosen it up and it wouldn't loosen up at all. Which required that some of these caps be removed so I could actually grip the metal versus gripping the plastic. There might be a better way of doing it, but that's how I did it. So we got that one all back together and installed. Now we're working on this one. And then we're gonna move to the last quarter panel and then maybe the sliding door today. I don't know how much further we're gonna get. Well, it's a week later. Didn't get any further from the last clip. The main issue I ran into was I purchased the wrong weather stripping. So this 416393 is not for these leaf rear windows. I think it matches it, but it's not cushiony. It almost seems like it's more for like a permanent window. I think it has this slit in it. And that's my bad. I should have checked the forums because I ended up finding a pretty good forum on DelicaForum.com, and they actually broke down all the part numbers for whatever model you have and everything. And I'll have a link of that in the description. I should have checked that first. So now I have these weather strips in the van that are useless, but what I ended up doing is going and getting the correct ones. So this A59144 is the right rear one, and then 683061 is the left rear. And I probably wouldn't have bought the two different part numbers, but that's what it said on the forum. So I'm like, you know what? I already messed up once. I'm just gonna trust them. So I ended up purchasing these two. And I'm going to do the last two leaf pop-out style windows, and then maybe attack the door. I'm not 100% sure. So I'm going to also try to get some footage of when we initially installed these, because I think I might have mentioned in a previous clip, like I said, it's been a week, but it almost seems like they don't fit, and you have to kind of move this bulge around the outer rim of the window, and eventually it just evens out across the whole thing. But I was about to cut the weather stripping, so maybe I'll try to get a clip of that. But I'm gonna put these in and then attack the sliding door, and I'll see you guys in a bit. Sorry for the lighting, it's a little bit cold outside, so I have the door closed and Milwaukee light lamping it up. I just wanted to show you. So I went through and put the weather strip down all the way across and up, and I think that it's on tight, but I have this extra bit here, and this is kind of what happened on the previous window, and I was about to cut this little lump here because I'm like, oh well, everything seems to be put down right, and if we're not making it, that means that I either have the wrong strip or whatever. I was just going to cut this and deal with it, but I'm going to massage this through the whole windowsill, pushing it up and in as I go along, and this will eventually, I hope, disappear. So I'll come back after I kind of, you know, slowly kind of do like this. You see how I'm kind of like moving this hump down the line, and I'm going to keep moving it, and eventually I hope it'll disappear. So let's see if my predictions come true. Alright, so I got that bulge up to the bottom, and now look how big it is. I think the big issue is on the corners. I'm not putting it as tight as it can be, so I'm going to keep doing my circles around, and hopefully this thing disappears. So once we got it around this corner, it just kind of disappeared. It blends in. So don't cut your weather strip until you try moving that bulge around the loop to get as tight as you can. Okay, so I just installed the sliding door weather strip. There's kind of some bulging where there's some pinch welds going on, but everything seemed to fit pretty good. This is the part number I think I used, 421162. So you can get everything on this together except at this point right here. So you have two options. You can take off this bolt, or there's 3 bolts behind your door paneling on the inside of the door. I ended up taking off this bolt. That's 1 bolt. Then the upper track piece, I don't know if you can, let me get my flashlight. That upper track piece over there will fall off. And underneath this bolt, the hole on this bracket is oblong, so you can adjust it. Just be sure to kind of keep a mental note of how and where this was situated for when you reinstall it. And then the other thing I've kind of noticed is my door doesn't necessarily want to shut perfectly anymore. And I'm hoping it's just because that this weather stripping is so thick right now that the door doesn't want to make a really good contact. That's what I'm at least hoping. I might see if maybe adjusting this a little bit might help or not help, but I'm gonna take this through a car wash just to give it the ultimate test on all the weather stripping. I did have a bulging on this as well, and I just kind of kept massaging it around until it kind of disappeared. But yeah, that was the whole kind of shebang for doing the weather stripping on this. I didn't really film doing the channels. Maybe I'll make a separate kind of video for that, but the other weather stripping kind of went on good. I did use, another thing I forgot to mention is that I used blue Loctite on the screws holding the window on, because I don't want that to vibrate off, obviously. But I'm gonna go through the car wash. Normally I used to have someone in the back with a towel that would go through each window, and as a spray hit it would like protect it. But I'm gonna see if I need that anymore. Plus it's starting to get close to winter, so I'm gonna start doing the whole winterizing, getting all that shit together. So thanks for watching. I'm still waiting on those skid plates from DelicaWorks. Those should be arriving soon, hopefully, and I'll make a video on installing that. So be sure to subscribe, like if you want, and I'll keep posting some new content as I'm slowly kind of fixing up my baby. So thanks again for watching. Bye.